Hello, welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm Sally.
Asuka defeated Alexa Bliss to head to the final of Queen of the Ring.
Aleister Black versus Kit Wilson never got underway as R-Truth attacked Wilson before the match even got underway.
Randy Orton defeated Sami Zayn to head to the final of the King of the Ring.
Charlotte Flair defeated Chelsea Green.
LA Knight defeated Bronson Reed via DQ.
And R-Truth defeated John Cena via DQ.
I'd like to know how R-Truth defeated John Cena via DQ.
Jimmy helps Jacob.
Bliss looks for friends.
And John Cena does a swear.
So, we kick off with the megastar calling out Seth Rollins, following the shenanigans of the past couple of weeks between him and Seth's Goon Squad. Out comes Heyman with a warning, telling Knight to get out of Grand Rapids, where SmackDown is coming from, or else. Knight replies, "If you can't bring me Seth, then you'll have to do," and starts to derobe. As he does, Heyman leaves the ring and tells Knight, "I said something bad would happen if you didn't leave," with Bronson then coming out. They head straight to the ring and of course beat Knight up. The beating goes out the ring, but while Bronson decide what to do next, Knight is able to grab a chair and fight them off.
We hit a break, come back and see Heyman trying to pep up Bronson when Byron Saxton appears, microphone in hand, and tells us that Reed will go one-on-one with Knight later. Heyman says, "Okay, thank you," and then tells Reed that patience isn't a virtue, it's a strategy.
So first up, Alexa Bliss versus Asuka in the first semi-final match for Queen of the Ring. It's a relatively even bout with each swapping moves and pin attempts. The best one so far coming after Bliss pushed away a dropkick attempt from Asuka off the top rope and then followed up with a DDT and cover. Bliss then went up top but wasn't convinced that Asuka wouldn't move, so decided to get down, which didn't pay off as Asuka got Bliss in an armbar and then covered her for two after a hangman's neckbreaker. This is very strange for me and by Bliss. Why not hit your move off the top rope and then let your opponent do what they're going to do? Why get down from the top rope, let your opponent do what was planned anyway? I did not understand this. You could see Bliss' mouth, "Don't you move," and then get down with Asuka then applying the armbar. As I say, why not hit Twisted Bliss, which was alluded to by the commentary team, and then let Asuka get you in the armbar if that was the plan all along? It was very strange to see Bliss on the top rope or middle rope and say, "Don't you move," to Asuka. You could clearly see her say it, and then she got down and Asuka put her in an armbar anyway. Unless there's like a little in-joke, and if there was, you don't play it out on screen. Not like that, because it looks a bit slapdash. Just hit your move, or if Asuka was supposed to move and then get you in the armbar, no problem. But don't do it mid-game, because it looked a bit weird.
Anyway, Bliss hangs Asuka in the Tree of Woe, drop kicks her and then goes for Twisted Bliss. Only Asuka gets the knees up, hits Empress Impact and covers Bliss for the victory, and heads to the final of the Queen of the Ring tournament.
That match would have been a lot shorter if I had started talking. Anyway, we see Jade Cargill, B-Fab and Michin backstage with Fab and Michin saying they're going to go speak with Nick Aldis about the tag team titles. I suppose technically they are kind of vacated now that the MVP is out injured. As they head off, in walks Saxton. Busy, isn't he? He asks her how she feels about facing Roxanne Perez in her semi-final on Monday and the possibility of facing Asuka in the final. Cargill says Perez is still trying to prove herself and that Asuka is a storm on the horizon. Cargill then says she's not walking in to win, she's walking in to reign. Now I could have sworn that the match was slated for SmackDown, as in Cargill and Perez. And the only semi-final match on Raw was Jay versus Rhodes. We did mention this on our musings, go and check it out. And I can't understand, and as I say at the time, I couldn't understand why 3 of the semi-finals were on SmackDown.
And then just,
when they could have just split them evenly, which they now seem to have done.
Yeah.
But Cargill and Perez, I could swear, was down for SmackDown, but it wasn't.
Back from the break, we see Chelsea Green and Bliss exchanging words about the Queen of the Ring when Charlotte Flair interrupts. Flair says she'd still be in the Queen of the Ring had Green's replacement in the tournament tapped out 3 seconds earlier, so she has a match made to face Green later. Green scurries off, with Bliss telling Flair she doesn't need her help. Flair responds saying she wasn't there to help her.
Next up, the match we've all been looking forward to, Kit Wilson versus Aleister Black. While we were watching Black's entrance, we hear Joe Tess burst into life, exclaiming what's going on in the ring, with us then seeing what's going on in the ring. Wilson is being attacked by R-Truth, with Truth locking in the STF and then releasing and asking for a mic. He then calls out Cena before putting Wilson in the STF again. Backstage hands head out and manage to calm Truth down and then usher him to the back. I was looking forward to that match. Hope they run it back next week.
We have a recap of Gunther Goldberg from Raw before we see Truth being told to calm down backstage. Black then approaches Truth, asking why he's getting involved in his matches, with Truth saying it's nothing personal. Damian Priest then rolls up, telling Black that Truth is going through a lot and that he'll talk to him. Priest tells Truth to focus on his negativity on Cena, handle his business, and they can head off into town and celebrate.
Cody Rhodes heads out next, and before he has a chance to speak, out comes Jey Uso. Jey says there's only room for one of us. It's not personal, it's just business. The two shake hands with Sami Zayn then heading out. Zayn says it's nice to stand in the ring with two great friends, adding that he's proud of Jey and proud that Rhodes has finished his story, but it's now time for him to finish his story. Cue Randy Orton.
Orton enters the ring and tells Cody there's no line he won't cross to get his hands on a 15th World Championship.
There it is again.
Tells Jey if he's facing him at SummerSlam, which I don't think is right, because surely it'll be Night of Champions if they win their respective semi-finals, that it won't be 4 letters, 1 word, it'll be 3 letters, 1 move.
Nice.
And then tells Zayn that one day he will be champion, but SummerSlam is not that day. The segment ends, for those counting, Rhodes never said a word.
Absolute waste of time. He never said a word. So, the first men's semi-final of King of the Ring gets underway. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. Orton suffers chops from Zayn before the two exchange eye pokes, with Zayn then throwing Orton out the ring. Zayn goes after him but ends up being dropped on the announcer's desk twice just as we hit a break. We come back and we're in the ring with Zayn dropping a double axe handle to Orton and then attempting a blue thunderbomb. Orton fights out of it and hits a scoop power slam, followed by the draping DDT. The
Viper coils for the finishing strike, but Zayn rolls out of the ring, with Orton following. The Legend Killer looks to drop Zayn on the announcer's desk again, but Zayn counters and drops Randy on it instead, with the two then heading back into the ring. Orton posts himself after charging at Zayn, with Sami then looking for the haluva kick. Only Orton meets him halfway across the ring and delivers another scoop slam and covers for 2.
Orton dodges another haluva kick attempt and then sets up for the RKO, but Zayn counters into a blue thunderbomb and covers for 2. Zayn then decides to head up top, but Orton avoids the move and looks for the RKO, with Zayn pushing him away and lining up another haluva kick. As Zayn runs at Orton, Orton counters the kick into an RKO, with the Viper then covering Zayn and getting the 1, 2, 3.
Working out nicely for your
It is working out nicely for my predictions.
Out next, Nia Jax, and she says that Stratton betrayed her and that she has her title. Cue Tiffy time. Stratton says she's got a match lined up for her and Jax next week, a last woman standing match. The two then begin to fight, but Jax gets the better of her adversary with a pop-up headbutt and 2 leg drops. Jax then leaves the ring to talk a little smack to the commentary team, while Naomi comes charging out, threatening to cash in. Jax pulls her from the ring to deny her, but Naomi gets on the apron, with Stratton then drop-kicking her off and into Jax. Stratton didn't say the title would be on the line next week, but Barrett seemed to intimate it would be, saying the gold will be on the line.
After a promo for Cena versus Punk at Night of Champions and how they're yin and yang, we have our next match. Charlotte Flair versus Chelsea Green. Green with Hervis. Flair gets a 2 off a crossbody from the top rope, with Fire then attacking Flair from the apron as the referee was more concerned with Green's face mask. Back from the break, Flair lines up a figure 8 with Fire distracting her from the apron. Flair boots Fire to the floor and then turns into a Rough Rider and covered for 2. Green can't believe it and so removes her protective mask and then sets up for the Unpretty Her.
Only Flair plows out and spears Green, covering for 2. Flair then locks in the figure 8, with Green tapping out. As she does, Niven enters the ring and sentons Flair, albeit too late as her boss just tapped. Anyway, Niven just about destroyed Flair's knee and ankle when sentoning her, but luckily Flair seemed to get away with it, with Fire then entering the ring too. As the two beat on Flair, Alexa Bliss heads out for the save, taking care of Niven and Fire before Sister Abigailin Green. Bliss then offers her hand to Flair, with Flair ignoring it and heading up the rampway. Now, they would be a good tag team.
I think they would
I
be
don't mind
good...
seeing them
yeah,
together.
That's what, 2 big names, put them together.
Yeah.
I love it, yeah. Because they're not really doing anything. So
exactly,
looks like Bliss ain't interested in the White
She
Six.
just wants a friend.
They're not interested in her. She wants a friend. Flair needs a friend.
Flair needs a friend.
Brilliant. We see JC taping up his hands in the back next when Solo asks him what he's doing. JC says he's going to take out Jacob, with Solo saying, "No, I'm going to go out there alone and talk to him," citing that Jacob needs him. Just as Solo's about to leave, he tells JC just to be ready.
Solo makes his way out and tells Jacob he's here in the middle of the ring with open arms, and to just come out so they can clear the air. Fatu answers the call and heads out. Solo tells Jacob he loves him and that families fight and argue all the time, and that then they forgive, with Solo then saying that Jacob is all he has. Solo says he'll say the 4 words for him, saying that he loves him, with the crowd then chanting bullshit.
Fatu accuses Solo of using him to gain gold, power and fame, and thinks the problem is the US title, telling Solo to fight him for it. Jacob drops all his gas no brakes and you know what I mean line, with Solo then spiking the werewolf, only he doesn't as Jacob catches him and then drops him with a headbutt. As Jacob piles in on Solo, JC makes the save with the 2 Samoans beating up the Samoan, only for another Samoan to head out for the save. Jimmy. The Uso manages to superkick JC and Solo, but JC then puts the hurt on Jimmy and bests him. Fatu recovers and helps out his fellow Samoan by then beating up the 2 other Samoans, with Solo and JC scarpering up the rampway.
LA Knight versus Bronson Reed now, with Breakker and Heyman at ringside. Knight's music hits, but he appears from the crowd, taking out Breakker and then heading into the ring and throwing out Reed, with the megastar then goading Reed back into the ring. Reed misses a few moves, not because they're botched, but because Knight's too quick, with the megastar bulldogging Reed from the middle rope after a missed senton from the Aussie. LA sets up for the elbow, but Reed rolls out the ring, with Knight then following with a springboard crossbody just as we hit a break.
We come back to find Reed and Knight standing on the middle rope, with Knight winning out and pushing the big man down, followed by an elbow and cover for 2. A headbutt and Death Valley driver nets Reed a 2, with Knight then countering a powerbomb into a DDT. With Reed down, Breakker gets on the apron, but he's soon dealt with by Knight, knocking him off. Reed guns for Knight, but Knight drops the top rope, sending him to the outside, and then tries to follow up with a dive between the ropes.
Only as Knight's running across the ring to dive out, he's met with a spear from Breakker, which obviously ends the match. Bronson then beat up Knight. 2 spears are followed by 3 tsunamis. Where are all the good guys? Rhodes is here, Jay's here, Orton's there, Sami's there, Jimmy's there, Punk is there.
Is he?
You'll see. Even Cena's there. Okay, maybe not that one, but you get the point.
Where are all the good guys? We see a few matches advertised for SmackDown next week, with Vega defending her US title against Julia. The White Six take on the Street Profits for the tag titles, just because they beat Motor City Machine Guns the other week. And the bout between Stratton and Jax is confirmed as a title match. But Stratton didn't say that when she first came out, which she should have done.
Yeah. We then see Jacob Fatu backstage telling Solo that at Night of Champions it will be the two of them going at it for the US title.
That's going to be a hard one to call, that is.
Yeah.
Last match of the night, John Cena versus R-Truth again. We end up outside the ring from the off, then head back in with Truth in control. We then hit a break, come back to see Cena.
Do we?
Land a 5-knuckle shuffle. Truth lays into Cena again, with the champ leaving the ring, grabbing his title and heading up the rampway. Truth gives chase and attacks, but Cena hits him with the title, thus ending the match. The bell rings, and then we hear the static of Punk's theme, with a straight-edge superstar heading out and running after Cena.
Cena heads to the ring where the two begin to fight. Punk goes to hit Cena with the title, but Cena kicks him in his punks and then levels him with the title. Cena sets up a table in the ring and then AA's Punk through it before leaving the ring and grabbing a mic. Cena says that Punk's better than him at one thing. He's the best bullshipper in the whole world.
Cena accuses Punk of stepping on the necks of people who work harder if it will get him ahead, and then name checks Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder by their real names. Cena continues to put Punk down, saying his tweets are strong but his actions are weak. Cena tells Punk to bring his A-game to Night of Champions. Cena finished by thanking Punk for letting him rip off his promo to make him look even more foolish, with SmackDown going off the air with Cena blowing Punk a kiss. Now this promo by Cena was about 12, 13 minutes long, because when the match ended between Cena and Truth, there was like that length of time left, and I thought, what are they going to do now? Cena cut his promo, he spoke about TKO, he spoke about the pipe bomb. The promo did finish early because he said, USA, I've got 2.5 minutes left, like, what are you going to do? And then he left the ring, and then he came back in. That's when he thanked Punk for letting him use his promo and making him look foolish. Cena then left the ring again, stood on the apron, and I think he asked 3 or 4 times for his music to be played, because I suppose it's difficult to judge how long to run a match for, knowing you've got to cut a promo at the end. So he could have gone for another couple of minutes in the ring with Truth, then had the promo with Punk, and then it could have finished. But the timing is going to be hard if you're going to have a match and then cut a promo, because you know what you're going to say, but it's getting all the timings right.
Exactly.
So as you say, he came out of the ring, he asked for his music to be played, eventually it was played, I say we went off the air. I think it was all planned, obviously, the pipe bomb. It wasn't like a Punk pipe bomb.
No, it was, it obviously planned ahead of time for that. I still think SmackDown is far too long.
Yeah, it was a bit, because I'm expecting 3 semi-final King and Queen of the Ring tournament matches.
It's that's going to fill a lot of time, fair enough.
But
we only had the 2.
All being well, apparently July the 4th it will be down to 2 hours. It just makes it, nice, nice and tight, nice and smooth.
Exactly, there's no
job done.
Filler, you're not going to have
filler.
20-minute entrances and things like that.
No, like the Cody Rhodes. Because he came down, he did his entrance.
Do a full entrance.
And then before he spoke, then Jay came down. So, alright, lovely. That was just absolute waste of time. Anyway, thoughts or views, you know what to do. Share them. Please feel free to leave them in the comments down here, I think.
Don't forget to go and check out our music video with thoughts and opinions of the last week of WWE. A new one drops every Wednesday.
And once again, if you enjoy what we do, thank you for watching.
And we'll see you Tuesday for Raw.